What's up, nerds? This is Matthew Keel doing his first ever DNA vlog. Now, I know I was supposed to start this about a week ago today, and I didn't. Not because of anything happened, but I kept sitting down and trying to figure out what I want to say, what I want to do, how I want to make this something special for anybody that might watch it. Um, Sadly, I don't really have any answers there. I've been trying to come up with little ideas, and I either look at them and picture me doing them and going, I don't like watching me doing them, so I don't think anybody else will, or I'm not 100% certain if that's the way I want to do it consistently. So we're just going to improv this first one, or probably these first few, or probably all of them at this rate. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what shakes because I don't. I'm not. I've never ever been good at planning anything. That's not because. That's not because I'm averse to it. It's not. I don't really think it's because I'm disorganized, though I am disorganized. I think it's more because I like the spark of spontaneity. I like the tendency to break things. Um, and I also like in equal measure things when they come off as something really cool, or when they fail spectacularly, mainly because you can learn from both. And I think that that's a good way to try and approach this. And I'm pretty sure there will be several who will let me know how wrong they think I am, or how right they think I am, or I won't get anything because no one's watching anyway. Either way, I'm still here. So, um, so yeah, I don't know how much anybody really knows about me on DNA, other than the fact that I'm probably the goofball half of NGR Radio. I've been a supporter of DNA for a while, more than a year now, and I'm always kind of the quiet one in terms of like the Facebook groups. But a couple of times early on, Corey and I we played Destiny together, and then there is that infamous time where I fell asleep playing Destiny. But he and I clicked to a relatively high degree where we were both making each other laugh. We both had really good conversation. We talked for hours, it seemed like, the first couple of times. And then he said, "Hey, I want you to come on DNA," and I eventually did that. And things just sort of happened. And he said, "Hey, I want to do a show where you and I talk with Todd about stuff." And we did that for a few episodes, and then life got in the way, and then we came back as NGR earlier this year. And it's been fun. It's something that I look forward. It's something I base my week around, mainly because I know that either Monday or Tuesday night I am going to be sitting here staring at this screen, looking at his adorable face, and probably having one of the better conversations I will have for the week. Now, in terms about that's sort of how I got involved with DNA, and the one sort of philosophy I really like about NGR is that we just go. We have. I mean, I know Corey and I try and bring topics every week, but if we have one or two guests, we try and let them go. And I would rather them get their topics out, because if it goes for a really long time, I've recognized that things people have lives. If they either they're listening or watching, not everybody has 3 hours to sit aside and look at our shenanigans. But I do recognize that people are probably coming for the guests, and more often than not, we come for the guests too, because you know, though Corey and I get along, I think we're more interested in getting along with everybody. and creating something positive rather than, you know, the easy route, which is to be negative about everything. I think it's way easier to be negative about something than it is to be positive. But the one real confession that I sort of have, and that I've not been shy about this, is I love video games, but I don't know a lot about them. I'm super interested in learning more than I know, because that's sort of how we get better as people in a way. I also know kind of where my interests in terms of gaming lie. And having said that, I also find that question difficult to nail down. Like I do. I mean, the easy answer is yeah, I like indie games. But does a game have to be indie for me to like it? No, I don't think so. I think it's I think the one thing that brings me into a game is if I look at like a trailer or even a still can do it, or just the way somebody describes it. If whatever method of exposure that I have to said game, if it seems fun, that's kind of what brings me in. Not necessarily is it, does it have to be a first person shooter? Does it have to be a good story? Does it have to be something immersive? I don't think it has to be any of that. I think the idea is, does that sound fun? And that's kind of where my gaming tastes lie. I have particular styles of games that I love. Like I do like roguelikes a lot. I do like platformers a lot, be it 2D, 3D, mascot, puzzle, or the you have to be super precise and land this jump this way in order to progress. I also like the Souls games a lot, but that's probably things that most everybody has either ascertained or probably already know about me through others, or I've probably said it just enough to where everybody's sick of it. But the things that I know the most about are what I think is probably actually no twofold. It's twofold. I know the most about music, not because I play anything. In that regard, I've been more of an eater rather than a cook. I've wanted to learn instruments, but I've always found myself as more into kind of deciphering music in a way, not from a theoretical standpoint, because that can get, I'm not smart enough, and that can get to a point where you come to everything that is not classical or that is not super technical and say, nah, that just doesn't hold up. But I'm super into music. My favorite band is The Clash. My favorite album is Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. And if you were to ask me to pick anything on any given day, chances are, if I were to just pick something, the first thing that'll come out of my mouth will be either punk, reggae, or old school hip hop. Those are sort of my three I can listen to at any point, any time. The only artist that has really challenged that, and I'd say they've challenged that over the last 10 years, has been Avalanches, which I wrote about I wrote about their new album Wildflower that came out earlier this year. I think from a base level, they're classified as hip hop, but when you listen to their music, it's something wholly different, and it can be a really good time. But and movies are the other thing I think I know a bit about, or at least I can talk about it with relative intelligence. I'm a super huge fan of older movies. Not because I think they're better, or not because I think the first people to do something are obviously the best at it, because I'm pretty sure the first person to make a musical note or something that could be considered music was probably someone who didn't know what they were doing. And that's kind of the beauty of it. But I'm a huge fan of movies with limitations. That's probably why I gravitate towards a lot of modern indie flicks. Not because I don't think that the big budget blockbusters are a good thing, because I think to a degree they are. Um, I just I like the limitations of like early silent films where the cameras didn't move, but the people making those films found ways to populate the frame, or they found ways to tell a story literally like this. Like, this is your picture. Tell a story in it. And then, not to mention, you can't do it with words. You have to do it with visual. You have to use the pictures to tell the story. Now, silent films eventually found title cards, which they used to varying degrees. And I think there was a way to do that minimally rather than being invasive with every 2 seconds you cut to a title card so you can figure out what two characters are saying. But they did that, and now we are where we are, where if you do a film like The Artist that came out of, I think, 2013 now, where it was predominantly silent, a lot of people said, oh, it's a silent film. No, that movie's not silent. That movie is not a silent film. And not because they overdubbed effects, but it's a different conversation. But where people said, oh, it's a silent film, I don't want to watch that. Or, I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Iowa, and I developed an affectation for foreign films. And whenever I tried to show someone a film like Amelie, they said, I don't want to, I'm watching a movie. I don't want to read. I'm like, do you speak French? They're like, no, why would I want to watch a movie in French? I go, well, that's where the reading comes in. And they're like, nah, I don't want to read. So, that's kind of what you deal with. But I like music and movies a lot. I think that's probably the one statement I will really get through in this video. I like music and movies a lot. And hopefully I will find ways to integrate them into this. I don't know how well or how bad, but I think it's a cool journey we could go on together. What do you think? Find me on NGR every week. Goes live every Monday. And if you want to come on and have a chat, by all means, hit us up. I'm pretty sure Corey would be receptive. I know I am, because I'm always interested in talking to new people. And yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for the most unfocused first episode of anything ever. Banana, and I can't find the button. Banana, and out.